So in the last class, we have discussed about the one of the method, that is direct method, this direct step method for computation of visually varied flow, isn't it? So in that method, we have to constrain that we have a constraint that the delta x should be small, otherwise error will goes on increasing as we move forward. That means as we move forward for computation of the visually varied flow, if the delta x is not very small, then it will error goes on increasing. And another limitation is what this method can be, that means direct step method can be applied in prismatic channel only. So today we will discuss about the slighter advance of the direct step method, that is your standard step method. Standard step method. So from the figure, suppose this is section 2 and this is section 1. Okay, that means we are know the value at this point at section 1, and we have to compute values, that means y at section 2. So computing energy here, equating the energy, then what we will get? See again here, this loss, this is your loss. This is alpha v square by 2ig, and this is alpha 1 v square by 2ig. This means your kinetic energy. Here up to kinetic energy is this much. This is loss. So this loss is divided into two parts here. One is your friction loss and another is your eddy loss. So this eddy loss is formed when your sudden contraction or sudden expansion is there, then this eddy loss is formed. So that means one advantage of this method is that this can be applied in non-prismatic channel only. That means when there is a contraction and expansion, then that contraction and expansion take care in this method. Okay. So equating energy, what we will get here? Z1 plus Y1 plus, see, I am considering alpha as 1 unity here. Okay. V1 square by 2ig plus HC plus HF is equal to, or we can write in this way, we know the value at Z2, that means section 2, and we have to compute in section 1, suppose. Then it will be easier for you. So in the left hand side, Z2 plus Y2 plus alpha V2 square by 2ig is equal to Z1 plus Y1 plus, this is alpha 2, this is alpha 1, G1 square by 2ig plus HF plus HC. So HF is what? Your frictional loss, and HC is your eddy loss. Up to this much clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, writing here. HC, so here considering alpha 1 and alpha 2 as unity, and HC, this eddy loss can be calculated K into V1 square minus V2 square by 2ig, where K is what your eddy constant, and this constant is K is equal to 0.1 to 0.3 when channel is contracting, or that the contraction occur. Okay. And 0.2 to 0.5 for expanding channel. Okay, 0.1 to 0.3 for contracting channel and 0.2 to 0.5 for expanding channel. And if this channel is straight, then this K value will be 0. That means this AD loss will be 0 if this channel is straight. Up to this much clear? And
Yes, sir.
your HF, frictional loss we can write in this way, SF into delta X, isn't it? SF is the what here? SF is this base slope here. This is your SF. Then I'm considering this is as also delta X. This is as delta X. So this friction loss, this is suppose your friction loss. Then this friction loss is how much? In the previous class we have discussed. This friction loss is what? Your SF into delta X, isn't it? This is delta X into SF, this side. Clear? This,
Yes.
this is not considered as delta X. This is wrong here. This is not considered. Incline one is not your delta X. This is your delta X horizontally. Okay. So now, again I'm writing here Z1 plus H1 plus, sorry, Z2 plus H2 plus E2 square by 2Z is equal to Z1 plus H1 plus E1 square by 2Z plus HC plus HF. So now this is your total energy or total head, isn't it? Z2 plus Y2 plus E2 square by 2Z is equal to Z1 plus Y1 plus E1 square by 2Z plus HC plus HF. So this height from this datum to this one up to this much, this is considered as H total head. So this is equal to H2. Here also this up to this much, this is your H1. That's section 1. H2 is equal to H1 plus HC plus HF. Clear?
Yes, sir. Yes,
now, suppose you know this value here at section 1. At section, see, always remember these things. You now suppose you know this value at H1. I'm doing in the reverse order, and we are computing the value at H2. That means section 2. Then your H1 will be what? Now H2 is equal to H1 plus, with the help of H1 I am computing. We know the value at H1, section 1. Then H2 is equal to, that means your control section is at downstream now. If the control section at downstream, then H2 is equal to H1 plus HC plus HF. Now suppose you know the value at H2. This value is known. Now we are computing downward. Okay. Now you are suppose computing downward. You know the value, that means suppose M2 profile. Here is a M2 profile. CDL, NDL. So this is M2 profile means what? We know what is the value at M2 profile is between your NDL and CDL. So it will be start from NDL and it will be like this. So we know this value because if we know the height of the NDL, then we have to compute up to this mass, suppose. Then we are computing in the downstream direction. Then H1 will be how much? H2 minus Hc minus Hf. So you just during the solving of the problem, you just notice whether you are computing downward or upward. If you are computing upward, then you have to add this loss Hc plus Hf. But if you are computing the profile downward, then you have to deduct this loss. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now for solving this problem also, we will make a table. Just I will show you how we will make the table. And remember, this is a iteration method. In the direct step method, you are directly calculating the value in with the with distance. But here you have to iterate. I will show you how you have to iterate. Excel sheet visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, see. Now we have to make this table. This table means this is your distance. That means, suppose, let me draw here. Like this. So you know this value here at this point, suppose. This is your control section. You know this value. Now you have to compute up to this mass. So see, it is not necessary that you are taking here delta x as constant. In the direct step method, we are taking the delta x as constant. We have divided equally, but here you can divide your delta. It is not necessary that delta x is equal. That means it may be like this. Suppose this is 0.50, 100, 200. In this way also you compute it. So now what we will suppose up to 300 distance is there. You assume that at 300 this value will be, that means your water surface profile joins the NDL. Suppose this is your NDL, so it joins the NDL at 300. Okay, so now what you have to do, you have to first calculate delta x. Suppose I for this 2, your delta x will be how much? 50, isn't it? Isn't it? 0 minus 50 is how much? Delta x 50.
Yes, 50.
So see, width here, width is also considered here. Width is also considered here. At section 0, we know this value. Width of this channel is known always. That means if width is changing, that will be considered here. Okay. Next, at section 1, suppose I am considering 0 means section 1, this point. At this point, you know the value of z, you know the value of h. H means what here? Y. Water depth. I am double tick means this value are known, because at control section we know this value. Area of the channel is also known. Area of the channel is what? B into Y. Known. Velocity is known because we are computing for a constant discharge, isn't it? So Q by A, from that you will get velocity. Next, energy. See, here energy is represent the total energy, not your specific energy. In the direct step method, where this energy is taking as your what? Specific energy. That means Y plus C square by 2Z. But here we are considering Z also. That means data method also we are considering here. So this is your total energy. Clear? Up to this much clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
this value is known, E1. weighted perimeter is known, R is known, SF you can calculate by Manning's equation, isn't it? SF is equal to how much? E square n square divided by E is equal to 1 by n R to the power 2 by 3. 2 by 3 means 4 by 3 square. So by this formula you can calculate SF. SF is known, but SF bar is not known. This is your SF bar. Because from this formula, energy calculation formula, you are always using SF bar, not SF. Okay? In the gradually varied flow equation, that means gradually varied flow equation is equal to what? Y is equal to, dy by dx is equal to SB minus SF 1 minus U square P by GA cube, isn't it? This is your gradually varied flow equation. So delta X with delta X, we have already got this delta E is equal to SB minus SF bar from this equation only. So this SF bar is equal to what? Your average of 2 SF. SF1 plus SF2 by 2. This thing we have discussed in the last class. So SF bar is not known. Clear? So yes, SF bar is not known, then we'll move to next step. Now, next here. So this is delta X, this is your how much? This is 0 minus 0, it is 50. This value is known now. B. Which of this channel is known always? Z is known, elevation. HC. HC is not known here. HC is not known here. HC is not known. Because initially here section 1 we know the age. But here we don't know the age. Only we have considered the 50 distance only here. Okay. So in 50 distance, suppose this is your 3 meter. This side is 3 meter at the control section. So we are considering after 50 distance, suppose this is your 2.5. So first we'll start with 2.5. Suppose I'm assuming just. So area, after that you can calculate, velocity you can calculate, energy you can calculate, weighted perimeter you can calculate, radius you can calculate, SF you can calculate. Now with this help of this SF bar you can calculate, isn't it? SF bar you can calculate. Next HF you can calculate here. Here HF is equal to 0 because HF is equal to what? HF is equal to SF into delta X. Here delta X is 0. So this is 0 HF. HC also 0 here because V2 is not there. So HC you can calculate here depending upon our K value. That means HC is equal to by this formula. K is equal to V1 square minus V2 square by 2G. If K value is given, then you can calculate this. Now E2 you can calculate. How you can calculate E2? E2 means here your H. Just we have written this equation now. H2 is equal to H1 plus loss. Loss means your what? H1 plus HF plus HC. This E2 means your H2 here. This E2 means H2 here. So you can calculate H2. How you can calculate H2? Now see. Now you computing downward direction. You are computing. Sorry, upstream direction. Your control section is downstream, and you are computing upstream. That means what? That means this is plus.
We will have to add the yes.
Yes. We have to add this value. Now E2. E2 again you can calculate by what? HCF is equal to what your daily SB minus SF also, isn't it? So now after calculating E2, suppose you are calculating E2 here from here. After calculating E2, you have to say whether if you are calculating upward, no? So E2 is equal to this much. So you have to say whether this, if you deduct the value from E2, then you will get E1 or not. If this difference is 0 by deduction, then your assumed value is what? You can say assumed value is correct. That's it. That's it. Huh? Okay. So, oh, sorry. I mean Excel sheet. That's good. Excel is visible now. So, this, see, H2 is equal to H1 plus loss. I am just writing loss here. So, E1 you know here. E1 means H1. This is your E1. Okay. Now, E2 is equal to, you can calculate by this formula also, Z plus, that means Z2 plus H2 plus E2 square by twice Z. Because I have already calculated H2, this is now your H2, V2 and Z you have calculated. So by this formula you can calculate E2. After calculating E2, you have to say, why you have to say? You are calculating E2 value at the upstream direction. That means your E2 is equal to what? This H2 is equal to E2 is equal to E1 plus loss. So now, if you deduct, that means E1 is equal to what? E1 is equal to what? E2 minus loss, isn't it? So if you deduct this value, H7, Hc is your loss from E2, whether you will get this value or not, E1 or not, that you have to say. If you are getting this value, E1, then your assumed value is correct. If you are not getting E1, then again you have to take another value. Suppose now I am taking 2.8 next value. This 2.5 and 2.8 is depend upon whether this error is negative or positive. This is negative or positive. If E1 is equal to E2 minus loss, after that it is positive value, E1 is equal to E2 minus loss, suppose. Now, by comparing, you are saying that the original E1 is less than your this one. E1 calculated with respect to E2. That means what? Your assumed value is higher value. That you have to what you have to do? You have to reduce the value. Then then we will move to 2.4. Now, suppose your original E1 is greater than your, this is not E2, huh? E1 dash, suppose. E1 dash means what your energy calculated by this formula, E2 minus loss. And E1 is what? Energy calculated in the first step. So if your E1 is greater than E1 dash, then what do you mean? That means E2 you have calculated is less. That means you have to increase the value. Is it clear to you? In this way, you have to iterate in each step. In this way, you have to iterate in each section till this E1 minus E2, or you can say this value E is equal to E2 minus loss is 0 or nearer to 0. Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Or I have to repeat?
Sir, please repeat.
Sir, can you elaborate on the E2 side? I did not understand that.
Yes. So we up to section 1 is correct. You know this first step. Is any doubt in the first step at the 0 level?
No, sir.
Next what? At a distance 50 from the downstream, suppose this height I am assumed that this is 2.5. Okay, width is known, Z is known, 2.5. We assume that this height is 2.5. Now for this 2.5, we can calculate A, V, and E. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. P, R, SF bar is equal to 1. SF1 plus SF2, SF bar you can calculate. HF you can calculate SF into delta X by delta X is 50 here. HC you can calculate by this formula up to this much, clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Next E2. E2 you can calculate because you know what your Z value, H value, and V value. You know this value, isn't it? Now you have to say what you have to say, whether, see, just forget about your H2, H1. I am writing this as E2 is equal to E1 plus HC plus HF. E2 you calculated by this formula. One formula is what your Z plus Y plus E square by 2Z. From this formula you have calculated E2. This E2 is here. Now, if you deduct E1, this is your E1, this value. That means E1 is equal to what? E2 minus your loss. So if you deduct E2 from E2 loss, whether you will get E1 or not, that you have to say. If you deduct HF and HC from this E2, whether you are getting E1 or not, that you have to say. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
If you are getting E1, then your assumed value 2.5 is correct. Now suppose E1 calculated from this formula. E1 that means calculated from E2 minus loss from this formula is, this is suppose your E1 dash. I mark this as E1 dash. So if this E1 dash is greater than your E1, that means this one, first step E1, then what you have to do in the next step, you have to reduce the height of water depth height. That means suppose next step we will move to 2.4 because energy that is calculated is in higher side. We have to reduce that. Now suppose this E1 dash is less than your E1, then what you have to do? You have to move into higher side. That means you have to, in the next step, trial step, you have to increase this water depth. Is it clear to you now?
Yes, sir.
In this way, in each section, you have to iterate till your E1 dash is equal to E1. Till that point you have to iterate. So this is a very time consuming problem. But this is more accurate than your direct step method. So this in exam, you I think you need not follow this formula to calculate your if the method is not given in the question that compute the gradually flow profile by this method. If the method is not mentioned, then you follow direct step method. But because here in every step you have to iterate in every step, but this method giving you accurate result. So this method can easily solve in a computer program. Suppose you are writing a programming, then in each step it is iterate, then that will be easier for you, or you are getting accurate result. But in the exam it is difficult for you to calculate in each step, iterate in each step. And this method also you can apply in your non-prismatic scenario. So suppose in exam your in your problem is it's heading with, that means non-prismatic. Then you have to apply this method only. Clear? Is this method is clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So next we will move to these two are your graphical representation of your numerical method. These two, direct step method and standard step method, graphically represented. So next we will move to these two are method are your not graphical. This is a direct method. These two are. So step by step we are doing these things directly. Next we will move to your graphical implication method. Here we will study two methods in graphical integration method. One is your Euler's method. Euler's method. So what is the Euler's method? So this is your curve, gradually very flow curve or any other curve. This is the function of your dy by dx is equal to xy. That means here dy by dx, our formula is what? Sorry. Okay. So suppose you know this value. This value is known. This is your suppose x naught. This is your y naught. You know this value. That means these are also called initial value problem. That means initial value is known to you. Now you have to compute this value at here. At the distance delta x. So what we will do, we will draw a slope at this point at the known value. Sorry. Drawing another step, then it will be easier for you. Y naught, x naught, dy by dx is equal to function of x square. And our function is what? B minus SF 1 P square P by G A T. So Suppose we have to find out at the distance delta x, what is the value of y? We know initial value. Okay, why not? So what we will do, we will draw a slope here. Slope means what? Tangent. Like this. We know this value. This is the horizontal line. If this is y naught, then this is also y naught. Isn't it? Up to this mass it is y naught. If I draw a horizontal line, this is y naught, this depth is y naught, then up to this much is also y naught, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This height is delta y. Delta y up to this much. Delta y. So what Euler's method do? He considered that y1 is equal to, in this method, y naught plus delta y. He ignored this value. This value is ignored in this method. Again, dy by dx at x0, y0 we know dy by dx at this point, because we know the value of x0 and y0, so we can calculate dy by dx at x0, y0. dy by dx is equal to what here? Delta y by delta x. So delta y is equal to y dy by dx x0 y0 into delta x. So y1 is equal to y0 plus delta x into dy by dx into x0 y0. But see, he ignored this value. That means up to this mass, in this method, up to this mass, this is your y1. So this value is ignored here. This value. So if this delta x is very small, now I am considering the delta x is here. Very small. Now this is your delta x. Suppose. Then your ignored value is less. Isn't it? Then you can at this point you can say that y0 plus delta y approximately equal to y1. But at this point, at a bigger delta x, you cannot say, because this is a very high value, that y0 is equal y0 plus delta y is equal to y1. So for a very small delta x, so that the small delta x is also a questionable. How small this is? Very small, that is always questionable. How small this is, that is the answer. So for a very small delta x, this with the help of Euler's method, you can find this value, the almost accurate value. But if delta x is very large or delta x is large, not very small, then this error goes on increasing. In the next step, suppose next step is this much here, suppose. But if you are drawing a slope here again at this point now you are drawing a slope where at this point y1. So this is the slope now. This is the slope. So in the next step, what you can write? Y2 is equal to y1 plus delta x into dy by dx x1 y1 now. At this point, you are drawing slope, isn't it? This slope is at this point now. So now your y2 is this much. This is your y2. So that means this curve you are applying, this curve is now shifting in this way. Ultimately, you are getting this type of curve rather than getting this type of curve in Euler's method. If your delta x is not very small. So Euler's method can be applied for a very small delta x only. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Clear to you, everyone? Very easy. This is.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next, to minimize this error, the error because of this delta x, that means you are not considering this value, you have this value. To minimize this error, the Euler's method has been improved. And how it is improved? Now, so this is the curve. Okay, so we know this value y naught. Initial value we know that x naught. So first I'll draw this tangent. Okay. So I'm finding the value at here. Y1. X1, this value is y1. Now, this is your new y1 value by this method, Euler's method, isn't it? By original Euler's method, this is your y1 value. This is your y1 value, the original Euler's method, up to this much. Up to this much, your what? Y1 value by Euler's method. Now, what is doing here? Again, we'll draw a tangent at this new this y1 in this way. Again, one tangent is drawn at y1. Clear?
Sir, tangent to which curve, sir?
Tangent to this point, y1, at y1 point. That means,
Yes.
see, this is your tangent, so I'll join this up to y1 this much. Isn't it? Now at this point again, I will draw one tangent or slope. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Parallel to this line, that means parallel to this line, I will draw this slope in origin now. Yeah. This slope is now I am drawing here at origin. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Drawing to this. That means this is your y1. This is your this is y1 dash. Up to this much clear what I am doing here.
Yes, sir.
That means you can say
Yes.
this value. This value is your delta y. And up to this much. delta y dash. Delta y dash means this fellow. The tangent, the slope drawing at this point y1, and I am drawing this same line from the original, and after that I join this, and from here to here, this is delta y dash. So that means what in this method we have done, rather than using single y, we have modified this slope in this way, that we are using here average. That means here this is y. Now somewhere here y will be here. What is the concept here that I am telling you? Y1 is equal to y0 plus delta y1. This is delta y1. Delta y1 plus delta y1 by 2. So previously in last method what we have done, y1 is equal to y0 plus delta y. Isn't it? This is your original inverse equation. So this equation has been modified, that now we are taking the average of 2 delta y. Delta y, which is formed because of the tangent brought at the origin, and delta y1 dash is the delta y1 dash is because of the tangent drawn at origin parallel to tangent to y1. Up to this much clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
In
sir.
this way, they concluded that this error has been reduced because of this. What we can say? Because of this average, previously this red one is your what? Y1. Now this y1 is shifted to here up to this much. This is your y. Horizontal y. So in this way, error has been reduced. Further, we can write in this equation as in this way: y0 plus delta x by 2 dy by dx at x0 y0 plus dy by dx at x1 y1. Isn't it? Because see, delta y1 is equal to what? Delta x dy by dx at x0 y0. Delta y1 dash is equal to what? Delta x dy by dx at x1 y1. Isn't it? Up to this first clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
But in the next step, this is your x1. You are finding the value at x1. Now suppose you are finding the value at x2. So for x2, what you have to do here for x2? Now suppose you are drawing the tangent here at this point. If you are drawing the tangent here, that means this is your what? This card is like this. And this is your white. If the card is like this, okay. This is your white. Now, rather than drawing tangent at here now, again I have what in the illustration what you have to do. You have to do again draw a tangent here. That means this is your disk. Now what we have to do? You have to draw this line. Isn't it? This is your dy by dx. You are drawing the tangent here now. So in the next step, what you have to do, you are drawing again here a tangent like this. This tangent you have to draw at origin, not here. That means this is your y0. I'm writing it. Y2 is equal to y0 plus 2 delta x dy by dx at y1. See, in the value calculating of x1, y1, that means next step we are using y1 plus x by 2 dy by dx at x0 and dy by dx at x1, y1. Both slope we have considered, this one and this one. But in the next step, where that means in the next, what we can say, origin is known. Next step you have to do in this way. After that, you have to continue in this way. Y2 is equal to, again you are doing y0. Not you are considering here, and slope you are considering C. Twice delta x into slope, you are only slope you are considering this only now. That means in generalized form, this is equal to yi plus 1 is equal to yi minus 1 plus 2 delta x dy by dx at y. Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Let me say the dependency to just fill up the answers. So this is little bit confusing. That's why I'm repeating it again. So y1 is equal to what? Y0 plus delta x by 2. Why delta x by 2? I have, this 2 is coming from here. Average, that is. And dy by dx at x0 and dy by dx at x1, y. That means we are considering this slope at the x0 and x1. Now, if we are finding out the value at x2, that means then y2 will be what we are considering y0. That means we are not using the previous value. We are using the value previous to previous for finding out y2. Y0 plus 2 delta x, because from here, because we are using initial value, here it is how much? Delta x and delta x. That's why 2 delta x into dy by dx, where we are considering at y1. This slope drawing at here, that I am considering now. That means this slope I have drawn here. Now again we have to draw one slope, isn't it here? So that slope I have drawn here only. That's why dy by dx at y1. That means in generalized form we can write yi plus 1. This is yi plus 1 plus yi minus 1 plus twice x dy by dx yi. This generalized equation is not applicable in section 1. Section 1 you cannot apply. That means if I is equal to 0, I is equal to 0 is equal to 1. If I is equal to 0, then y1 is equal to y0 plus 2 delta x dx by dy into what? Y1. But this our y1 is equal to how much? Y0 plus x by 2 into 2 derivatives. What? That means two slopes. One is at x0 y0, another is on x1 y1. That means these generalized formula you cannot apply in section 1. That means in this value. After that you can apply. That's why for this value, that means 1, we have to do in this way, and after that you have to follow this equation for our other group. Right? Is it clear to you now?
Yes, sir.
So I'll stop here today.